to have a low self-esteem. I don't know if you know what low self-esteem means, but can I just give you an example of what a low self-esteem means? When my wife, before we got married, she was hooked up with this other guy, and this other guy would say a lot of stupid stuff to her. Stuff like, you're ugly. Stuff like, you're a hoe bag. And stuff like, just stupid stuff. It's really mean. So when I got with my wife and we started, I looked at her and she looked at me, she thought, man, he looks good.
Good-looking man.
Man, Dan is a good-looking man. You know what I'm saying? Man, he's good-looking, right? And I thought she was really pretty, too. So we started liking each other and started dating, and one day I was like, you know what, Kim? You're beautiful. And she's like, no, I'm not. And she believed it. There came a point in our relationship before we ever got married that even after we got married, when I would tell her she was pretty, I would tell her she was beautiful, and I would tell her all the time. And I meant it. And she'd say, no, I'm not. Quit saying that. Quit saying it. No, I'm not. Quit saying it. Why? Because her self-esteem was so low that she started believing what people told her. This man that she used to be with, this boyfriend, used to tell her all this stupid, mean stuff, and she began to believe those mean, ugly stuff. And I don't know, but you don't have to raise your hand, but my wife is beautiful. She makes my teeth sweat. She still gives me goosebumps. I still get excited when I get to hold her hand. I'm not trying to gross you out, but she's my wife, she's beautiful. And it took me a long time to get into her head that she's beautiful. And still, I look at her now and I say, baby, just look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful. And she's like, shut up. And it used to be, she'd be like, shut up. Now she's like, shut up. What she's thinking is, I know. I know, man. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. If you're not careful, I'm going to repeat this again. If you're not careful, everybody look at you and say, be careful. Be careful. Here it is. If you're not careful, it can cause you to have a low self-esteem. And I'm going to tell you something. Do not have a low self-esteem. You got to go with me. Everybody say, I'm going. Oh, we're going to have fun tonight. Oh, we're going to run out of time.
Dan the Crazy Man.
We're going to... Dan the Crazy Man. See, I told you, everything runs with Dan. All right, check this out. Real quick, I gotta hurry because we're running out of time. But here it is. How do you deal with being teased and how do you deal with being picked on? Here it is. I know you all got some cool answers. How many agrees you should beat them up? No. Now listen. In this story that I told you about David, you know what his friends and his servants did? He said, David, let me cut his head off. And David says, no. There was probably a part of David that thought, that's a pretty good idea. But David said no. He said, no way. And he said, no way.
No way.
Hold on. So how do you deal with being teased and being picked on? Number one. Everybody say number one.
Number one.
Look at your neighbor and say number one.
Number one.
Here it is. Recognize it's not your fault. Everybody say it's not my fault.
Not my fault. Not my fault.
Here it is. Wait. Just because someone picks on you and says you're a nerd or you're chubby or says you're not good at something is not always true. Psalms 139:14 says that you were fearfully and wonderfully made. God has tons, everybody say tons, of awesome things that He has said about you, which leads me to number two. So number one is what?
What? It's not my fault.
Number one is what? Everybody say it's not my fault.
No.
Number two.